What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 17 of 10K on the Bay, my journey to 10,000 listings on eBay. Today, I just want to go over some of my business policies that I have saved in the eBay business policies page, which is extremely difficult to find. So I've included a link in the description for how you can get to that part of eBay easier. But once you're in there, you can create templates to help you list much faster. These are the policies that I've come up with so far. It's going to continuously be changing as I learn more about eBay this year. So let's go over a couple of the things that I do to try to streamline my process. So the first thing I do is I offer global shipping. I in a few different manners. One, I allow the GSP program, which is eBay's global shipping program. I have that box checked. So it is an option, although it typically costs more money to buy through the GSP program than directly if the seller decides to ship it to you. I don't think international shipping is too complicated. Just make sure that you need a customs envelope from the USPS website, which I've included below. They are free, but you need those for customs when you send it overseas in most cases, so make sure you get some of those supplies if you are going to ship yourself internationally. Also, I found a lot of my international buyers, they want at least two different options for shipping. So I usually include USPS First Class, which is under 4 pounds typically, and then USPS Priority, which is significantly faster. So some people don't mind paying. They're already paying a premium to on the shipping charge to their country. Usually don't mind paying a little bit more just to get it within a reasonable time frame. Items can take up to 4 to 6 weeks from my experience to reach people depending on where they live. So the second thing that I've done, and I just changed this this weekend, which was I am now offering a handling time of the same day at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the reason for that is because I want to stay ahead of the curve. When it comes to this guaranteed shipping program, I want to be in there. I think eBay is going to have to adapt and be competitive with Amazon. So I'd like to ship the same day if possible. My post office guy arrives at 2 o'clock, so I'd like to start shipping all the stuff from the day before at 11 a.m. If you order before 11 a.m., it'll go out the same day. As I get a little bit more advanced, I am going to probably move that later into the day, and I'm going to have a dedicated shipper, ideally, when my business gets big enough. So at that point, we're going to print all our labels at the same time, get one scan form, and deliver it to the post office, and have the post office scan the one form. That'll be a different video, but scan the scan form, which is available in a few different shipping programs, including eBay's multi-label program. And that allows the post office to scan one barcode, and it enters all of your packages in at once. So I'm working on that being a process, and also the 1 day or same day handling. I'm going to try to get used to it now before the program gets into effect this summer. Okay, the next business policy is I'm going to double bag or double package all items, even though there is an additional cost that I originally thought that it was a waste of money as far as the packaging goes. I do think it gives a more premium experience to the buyer, for one, and secondly, it's much faster to find items when they're polybagged. They don't get unfolded or out of place as easy, and those few extra seconds I think are worth the few extra cents for me. So I am going to start double bagging all my items. Also, typically the clear container that I use, when it goes into the non-clear container for shipping, it usually goes into the package a little bit quicker, so I'm saving time on the shipping part as well. Okay, so let's go now into the 11 different shipping methods that I use. These business policies correspond with the different shipping supplies that USPS provides. I'm just going to go over literally how I set up these policies in the eBay business policy page, and then later I'm going to go over a shipping video on exactly how to ship those items in that manner. So the policy number one is that I have a default return policy of 30 days, basically no questions asked. And here's my reasoning for that. Reason number one is that people can return the item anyway if they claim item not as described. Even if you put no returns, they can say, I didn't get what I ordered, and then eBay will honor their return. So I might as well allow them to do it right from the beginning. The second reason, I stand behind my products 100% and I build trust in doing so. Sometimes people think if there's no returns, there may be something wrong with the item. They may be more reluctant to purchase it. I eliminate that by just allowing free returns for basically any reason, except for I just have one caveat that I put in there that says, please return it in the original condition that you received it. And this is to prevent rentals. The third reason is I actually charge a 20% restocking fee, which usually prevents people from returning items, but there are a few people who will return it because they just didn't like the item, and they're not dishonest about it. They just say, I did not like the item, or I bought it and I don't want it. And they legitimately want to return the item, which I accept. They pay return shipping. I refund the original amount, not including shipping, and I also charge a 20% restocking fee. So when that happens, I actually create a little bit of a profit for myself that I can use to subsidize the other returns that may or may not be honest, or it just helps me cover the cost of the 3% return rate that I have already built into my business. Okay, the second business policy I have is a default payment policy. So I have PayPal set up as my default payment processor. I do not offer local pickup for cash. It's not worth my time currently to meet up with people, and I don't have a facility where people can go pick up the item. So I currently do not allow local pickup because of time. The second part of this is that PayPal is easier for me than checks or money orders. So those are not an acceptable form of method for me. But I am debating setting up a third-party credit card processor, because I do think a lot of people don't use PayPal. Like my girlfriend is 25 years old and she doesn't have a PayPal account. She uses Venmo or she pays with her credit card. She doesn't like PayPal storing her information, so she doesn't use it. So I think there's a lot of other people who don't use PayPal. So if I had a normal credit card processor set up as a secondary option, people could go in there and just use their Visa or MasterCard and pay. So I think that, in theory, would increase the amount of people who buy from my store. Not sure if that's true or not. If it's not true, please comment in the section below and let me know that that's false. But I do think you can have two methods set up, either your own credit card processor or PayPal, or maybe you can only have one. If there's only one available, I'm going to pick PayPal. Okay, so those are the two policies that are on every single one of my listings. Now, if we get into 3 through 11, these are the 8 ways I ship items. So the first one is the flat rate USPS first class mail item. And so why do I use that? I use it if the item is under 1 pound and it fits in a poly bag. So this is the cheapest way to ship with tracking, period. There's no cheaper way to ship than an item that's under 1 pound that's shipped USPS first class mail if it's not a book. There are some USPS media mail rates that are cheaper for heavier items, but under 1 pound for the most part, USPS first class is the cheapest way to ship something with tracking on eBay. So that's my default shipping method. I try to buy items that are under 1 pound for this specific reason. I charge $6.95 for first class shipping, and I discount my items accordingly. And what will happen is some people will say, can you do a little bit less on shipping? Or they might say, I want to do a little bit less on the buy it now or best offer price. Either way, I have two negotiating tokens to try to make a deal with the customer. That's why I charge $6.95, even though that's more than first class shipping costs. So far, I haven't had any issues. It also allows me the option, if I'd like to list my items at auction and not get stuck eating the shipping cost if I decide to do more auctions in the future, which I think I will. The second option that I use, and my second most used option, is the USPS Priority Flat Rate envelope. And so there are 3 different envelopes for USPS, and all 3 of the options I offer for $7.95. So again, that's a little bit more. It's like $1 or $2 more than the actual USPS retail costs. But again, most of my items sell through best offer. So people will ask for either a shipping discount, or they don't care, or they're just looking at it at a total price. So these are 3 different options that I use for various reasons. But typically I use the flat rate envelope first because it's the cheapest, followed by the legal envelope, which is longer. It was a little bit bigger of an item. And then the padded flat rate envelope I use if the item is a little bit more expensive, just because the priority padded flat rate envelope is like a really high quality plastic versus the flat rate envelopes are made out of cardboard and can be more damaged during shipping. And this is another reason why I am now double bagging my items. So when I do put it in a clear poly bag inside of a paper shipping container, it still usually arrives unscathed. I haven't had any issues so far. Doesn't mean it's the right way to do it, but I'm typically going for more of a volume basis. So you can choose what you'd like. I have all three options, the regular, the legal, and the padded for the flat rate envelopes. The next option is my calculated multi option. And I offer this for items that are over 1 pound and don't fit in any of the flat rate envelopes or a poly mailer. And what I'll do is I offer multiple options for the customer. I'll offer FedEx SmartPost, I'll offer Priority Mail, Parcel Select, or USPS Ground. And for this shipping method, I use my own packaging. So that's either free eBay boxes I get from my shipping store credit or boxes that I get from ordering things. This is for the most part, the only method where I have to use my own supplies. So I really like this. It basically covers most of the items I have that are not clothing and heavier. So business policy number 8 is a flat rate USPS medium flat rate box. So this I use sometimes for blazers or higher end clothing that could be damaged by or have buttons bent or chipped during shipping. Items that basically I want to ship in a rigid container. I'll use the medium flat rate container, which is a little under $13, and that is typically sometimes more than FedEx SmartPost, but it's faster than FedEx SmartPost. So if it's an expensive item, I might use the medium flat rate box. It's rare, but I do use it for a lot of the items that I sell. So it is one of my shipping options. I do not have USPS large flat rate box as one of my business policies because it's very rare that I actually use it. Typically, the large flat rate box is more expensive than using FedEx or Priority or USPS. So my customers will pick that option more often than the large flat rate. So I think out of my 1,700 items for sale, I only have one item that I'm using a large flat rate box. And that's because it's extremely heavy, but I think it's like 13 or 14 pounds, but it fits into that box. So in that particular case, it does work. And for me, living in California, I haven't had much success with the regional A, regional B, and regional C boxes. So I don't use those very often. It doesn't mean I don't have them though. Sometimes if I have an unusual item, I will price it out, but it's not a commonly used shipping method for me, so I don't have it as a default business policy. If I get a heavier item, I'll do the homework as I'm listing it. So now we have policy number 9, which is calculated USPS media mail. I do sell a few books and a few periodicals or things that qualify for media mail, and so I have a policy here just so I can quickly select that and it will calculate the media mail. And again, sometimes a 4 or 5 pound book will only cost $4 or $5 to ship, so it's cheaper. I just have a set up in there because I'm shopping more and more at estate sales and garage sales. I'm getting books for super cheap, and sometimes I can't sell them on Amazon, so they go on the eBay, especially if they're collectible items. Yeah, so I definitely have a book policy. So my 10th business policy is free USPS first class mail. So I usually don't use this method, but I will if it's a very competitive market and I want that extra search boost that you get from free shipping, which I've heard. I think that that's true. If you offer free shipping, I think you are higher in the search rankings than if you do not. So as an example, I have comic books in my store, and it's extremely competitive. There are like 10 people who have the same comic book, no matter what comic book I have. So in that case, I'm trying to stand out from those other sellers a little bit. I offer the free shipping, hopefully, so that I rank 1 or 2 comic books higher than the other people and have a better chance at a high sell-through rate. I would also use this for video games or other items, again, that are very, very competitive and the margins are super small, and I need that extra boost. But for the majority of my items, which are used one-off items, I don't necessarily need that boost because there's only one or two other sellers with the same item. And I typically have the best feedback of those two or three people for the most part. And so I'll already rank above them. So I would rather they look at the pricing and my price be lower because it doesn't include shipping as the initial price. And then I'll negotiate with the buyer if they think the shipping is too high or they want to work on buying multiple items. So that is my 10th business policy. My 11th shipping policy, which I have been using a lot recently because I've been out of town, is my vacation mode policy. And this basically means I never turn my store off. I just adjust the handling time. And I have a pre-populated out of town snippet that I give to people saying, I'm out of town for the next 4 days. Thank you for your patience. If you need the item right away, I'll gladly refund your money and you can get it somewhere else. Or if you're willing to wait, I will ship it to you when I get back. So far, I haven't had any problems using vacation mode. But again, I am moving towards having a dedicated shipper because I want to compete as a real business, and real businesses that are online don't take time off. So I'm moving away from that. So hopefully this video is useful. I'll go over the shipping video on with the actual shipping containers in a different video. But if you guys have any questions, again, you can email me at 10kinthebay@gmail.com. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I appreciate your time. Have a great one, everyone.